4 players to buy low and 4 players to sell high in your fantasy football leagues based on snap count, strength of schedule, and data-driven decisions based on past production from these positions. If you've never been here before, welcome. My name is Max. I make daily fantasy content to give you a unique edge in your fantasy leagues based on run scheme metrics, coverage data, and overall statistical trends that not a lot of people talk about because it relates to the scheme behind the game instead of just the numbers you see on your screen. Without further ado, let's talk about these 8 players. We're going to start with the snap counts for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in our buy lows. What you will see with Chris Godwin's production is 3 catches, but what you will not see is a 58 count in terms of how many snaps he played. Look at Emeka Egbuka, right? He's the number 1 wide receiver, 89% of snaps. In Chris Godwin's first game back from an injury, he played 81% of snaps. He was targeted 10 times. Double-digit targets, 81% of snaps. Again, the only receiver playing more is Emeka Egbuka. This is a guy you need to get your hands on because the Bucs offense is going to be able to score a lot of points. Mike Evans is going to be out for it seems like a prolonged period of time, and they trust Chris Godwin enough. His first game back from an injury, a season-ending injury, to say, hey, Chris, go out there and run. 58 snaps. 58 snaps. This is a guy that really you can only buy this week. The production wasn't there. The targets and snaps were. This is your only opportunity to do it. Second player, do you know what the New York Giants are doing with Cam Skattebo right now? Obviously, Malik Neighbors is out for the year. Maybe the Giants aren't going to be able to upkeep the production of the overall offense like they had. However, Cam Skattebo was a very good player in this offense previously with minimal production from this offense. Since taking over as the true starting running back, right? Nobody's even touching the field. Devin Singletary, 25% of snaps last week. Cam Skattebo, 57 snaps, 75% of snaps. He touched the football 27 times. I'm going to switch back to the camera so you guys can see me say this. 27 times. Cam Skattebo is very clearly the number 1 running back in New York. And when you go look at his strength of schedule, which very good resource on FF today, Cam Skattebo is in an awesome spot, right? Positive matchup against New Orleans in week 5, depending on when you're seeing this week. Positive matchup against Philadelphia. Okay, he's got a tougher matchup against Denver. That's okay. You know, tough. You can't have a perfect schedule the rest of the year. This, quote, negative matchup against San Francisco is a farce. It's not a real thing. This was 3 games with Nick Bosa, 1 game without. In the 1 game without, the 49ers allowed 1 more full yard per carry and 50 more yards per game. 50 more yards per game. Yeah. Cam Skattebo, another positive matchup against San Francisco. One of the best matchups in the NFL against Chicago. Sure, bad matchup against Green Bay. Tougher matchup against Detroit. And then you got a solid matchup against New England. We're not going to get into playoff schedules because a lot can change, but in the next month or so, Cam Skattebo is going to explode. If I have an opportunity to buy somebody who touched the ball 27 times in a decent offense, who's probably going to run the football a little bit more, I'm doing it every single time, especially with the goal line work, especially with the pass volume as well. I think a lot of people watch a receiver go down and you think, okay, maybe he's done for the year and Darius Slayton or another guy needs to step up. That is not the reality of it, guys. Cam Skattebo is going to be a focal point in this Giants pass game, going to continue to touch the ball 20-plus times a game. He runs hard, and this is really your only chance to buy him because he had a lower production day in the game against the Chargers. Player number 3 is Chris Olave. When you go look at this New Orleans Saints snap count, it is unbelievable to watch Chris Olave every single week. Look at this. How many players in the NFL outside of a quarterback do you genuinely know play 100% of their team snaps in a week? 100%. Chris Olave is 3rd in the NFL in targets behind Puka Nacua, who's on pace for 2,000 yards, and Christian McCaffrey. 3rd in the NFL in targets. This is your only chance because he had a lower scoring game last week because he only had, 3 catches, and a touchdown. That's it. This is your only chance to go buy the 3rd leading target getter in the entire NFL. And when you look at his schedule, look at this. Exceptional matchup against New York. Okay, lower matchup against New England, completely fine, understand. Exceptional matchup against Chicago. In my opinion, a solid matchup against Tampa Bay. Tougher matchup against the Rams, sure. Then you get Carolina, and then you're on a bye. This is a guy, again, who's going to be bought in a lot of leagues this week because a lot of people know this is your only chance to get him. This is really your only chance to buy him for less than the value he will be. In the 4th player, I'll spend 15 seconds on this and I'll go back to my face. If you have an opportunity, look me in the eyes right now. If you have an opportunity to trade for Rashee Rice right now, do it. You saw how good that Kansas City Chiefs offense can be, and you still don't want Rashee Rice on your roster, who was a top 5 fantasy wide receiver last year when he played. Mahomes looks good. Looks like they're moving the football. Go look at Juju Smith-Schuster's snap count. Let's do it together, actually. Juju Smith-Schuster's snap count, who, again, is a good player. He's been involved in the Kansas City Chiefs offense, but this is the role that Rashee Rice is going to play. 80, 70, 69, 78. Obviously, Juju will be out there when Rashee Rice is back, but this is the role that Rashee Rice is going to play in terms of snaps, in terms of how often he is on the field. I am buying every single piece of this offense that I can right now, and Rashee Rice, to me, is the lowest comparative value of any player in this offense, of any player. The only person I may not buy is Travis Kelce. However, Xavier Worthy, awesome, came back, leading receiver and rusher, another good option. But let's talk bad in this video. The 4 players you probably don't want to buy on. I'm going to start with Travis Etienne, guys. I know you hate to hear it. He ripped off an awesome 40-something yard touchdown against San Francisco. Here's the hard reality. Look at his schedule coming up, right? You look at Travis Etienne's schedule. Okay matchup against Kansas City. Bad matchup against Seattle. Bad matchup against the Rams. Bad matchup against the Vegas Raiders, bad matchup against Houston, bad matchup against Chargers, and there's a bye sprinkled in there. I'm not doing this to scare you, but the matchups are brutal, and the reality is he's running less routes than the other running backs behind him, so in the pass game, he's becoming obsolete. And he took advantage of a good matchup. I'm just going to say it. I hate talking down on the 49ers run defense, but it is a different defense without Nick Bosa. They're not as good without Nick Bosa. That is the fierce reality, with the 49ers defense. That's the reality. He took advantage of a good matchup, had a big chunk play, and now you can sell him at your highest value when he's only playing 60% of snaps. Again, we can go look at the snap counts for the Jacksonville Jaguars too. You go look at this. Travis Etienne, again, 60%, 54%, 66% in week 2, which is his highest of the year, but no more than 67% across the entire season. It's hard to believe that Travis Etienne can continue this unless he's consistently hitting home runs. The other snap count I want to show you, and this is player 2, is potentially the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time in fantasy football. It's Mark Andrews. Because I was looking at the Baltimore Ravens, and he had a very solid week. I believe he caught 7 balls this past week. Solid week, and is at a spot now where you can sell him really high because he had a good week last week. You can say, hey, the Ravens are going to be trailing without Lamar Jackson, which is true. Also going to be less production without Lamar Jackson. Make sure you know that. But the week prior, he had an awesome game against the Lions. All of a sudden, Isaiah Likely comes back, and this guy's only playing 30 snaps. 30 snaps. Look at Isaiah Likely. First game back from an injury. 25 snaps. 5 less snaps than your starting tight end who's been a mainstay in this offense. You tell me, who do you think is a better football player, Isaiah Likely or Mark Andrews? Would I be crazy for saying Isaiah Likely? I don't think I would be. Mark Andrews, to me, is at a point right now where you can sell him at his highest value and nobody will bat an eye. Maybe the last questions about Cooper Rush. The Lamar injury seems 2 to 3 weeks right now. By week 8, by week 7, so maybe he's back week 8. This is your best opportunity to sell Mark Andrews, and I think you kind of have to take advantage of it, especially if you have tight end depth. Now, the last player who I'm going to tell you to sell is going to make you pissed. I'm sorry. It is. But the second to last player, I think we're kind of all on the same page with this, and I'm going to go to him right now in terms of snap count, is Romeo Doubs. Look, how often do you have 3 touchdown performances? How often do you get exceptional schedules as a wide receiver? Like, you can go look at Green Bay right now and say, okay, obviously they have their bye this week and have an awesome matchup against Cincinnati. Here's the reality. No crazy matchups until midseason against New York, right? And playoff schedule is very good, but playoff schedule will be Jaden Reed likely back in the lineup, more time with Matthew Golden, a healthier Tucker Kraft, and depending on when you're seeing this, Tuesday, September 30th, big breaking news, Christian Watson, his practice window is expected to be open. That's the outside guy, the number one, quote unquote, true number one in the offense. And the Packers are like, all right, let's roll him out. He's got 2 weeks to get ready for a game. 2 weeks to get ready for a game against a bad Bengals secondary, and you got Romeo Doubs probably sitting on your bench with a 3-touchdown performance in his back pocket. I'm selling him every time. And finally, guys, oh my gosh, I hate to do this. Because I own stocks of him in every single league. I'm really trying to figure out if it's worth it, and I think it is worth it. Jordan Mason. I know. Look at the snap count. And I know it was a pass-heavy game, but who's to say this can't happen the next couple weeks? You get a really, really good Cleveland Browns defense, right? You go look at this Minnesota schedule. A really good Cleveland Browns defense, then a bye, then a solid Philly defense, then a damn good Chargers defense. And you know what happens after this Chargers game? 4 weeks are up for, after the Philly game, 4 weeks are up for Aaron Jones. Jordan Mason had a decent game last week, had an exceptional game 2 weeks prior. You can sell him and frame him as a high-end running back 2, low-end running back 1. This is your time to do it, guys. I'm so upset that I have to admit this. I hate thinking about it like this, but the reality is the schedule is not falling in his favor. And who knows, maybe Aaron Jones' hamstring injury is more serious than we think. But if you have Jordan Mason, you got a decent trade waiting for you, or somebody just desperately needs a running back, highly suggest you get him off your roster. If you guys do have individual trade questions, please feel free to comment them. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video. God bless you guys. We will see you next time.